Imagine stepping onto a train in May 1893, your pockets stuffed with the life savings you spent 20 years building. You are heading to Chicago to see the White City, a breathtaking metropolis of marble, electricity, and triumph, built to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Columbus discovering America. Towering, moving walkways glide over lagoons, the first ever Ferris wheel touches the sky, and millions of incandescent light bulbs turn night into day. It feels like the future has arrived. But as you marvel at this monument to human progress, a cold sweat breaks out on the back of your neck. You look at the newspaper in your hands. Just days ago, National Cordage, one of the most powerful monopolies in the country, completely collapsed. Panic is spreading like wildfire through the crowds. You turn around and run toward the nearest bank, only to find the doors chained shut and a desperate mob screaming in the streets. The money is gone. The banks are empty. While America is celebrating its greatest triumph, its entire financial soul is quietly bleeding to death. To understand how a nation could build paradise on a foundation of quicksand, we have to go back to the decades that made this disaster inevitable. Between 1810 and 1880, America was growing at a terrifying, breakneck pace. It was an era of unbridled greed and wild speculation, driven by one massive, unstoppable force: railroad bonds. Think of these bonds like giant IOUs. Railroad companies needed millions of dollars to lay tracks across the wilderness, so they sold these pieces of paper to everyday citizens and wealthy European investors, promising to pay them back with massive interest once the trains started running. Because there were very few regulations, banks started springing up overnight, printing their own paper banknotes, backed by nothing but hope and a prayer. If you lived in Ohio, a banknote from New York might be worth its full face value today, half as much tomorrow, and absolutely nothing next week if that New York bank went under. Money wasn't a stable reality. It was a high-stakes guessing game. Merchant banking firms, the massive, private institutions that controlled the flow of international wealth, were pouring millions into these railroad projects, creating a massive bubble. Everyone was buying in. Farmers took out crop liens, which meant they borrowed money against the future value of harvests they hadn't even planted yet, just to buy more land and get rich. Trust was the ultimate currency, manufactured through beautiful stock certificates and the slick promises of financial titans. But by the time the architects started sketching the blueprints for the Chicago World's Fair, the gears of this giant machine were already grinding to a halt. The railroads had built too many tracks to nowhere. The British banks that funded them were facing their own crises at home,